Coming up next on UTRGV TV, the RGV is set to receive millions of dollars in disaster relief funds for the 2018 and 2019 June floods. Plus, new policies are in place for those riding non-motorized pedestrian devices. And we have the latest in the world of sports. We have this and more. UTRGV TV starts now. Hey there, and welcome back to another UTRGV TV edition. I'm Verilu Infante. Today is Monday, January 27th, and at the top of this week's newscast, the RGV is set to receive millions of dollars in disaster relief funds to aid residents affected by the 2018 and 2019 June floods. Our reporter Rocio Villalobos joins us in the newsroom for more.
Cities in Hidalgo and Cameron County are still recovering after being hit hard by back-to-back floods in June 2018 and 2019. Now help is on the way from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The HUD recently approved $285 million in disaster recovery grants for Texas, with Hidalgo County to receive over $58 million and Cameron County no less than $170,000, according to a news release from Senator John Cornyn's office. In this statement, Senator Cornyn said, "Texans have endured relentless storms in the past 2 years. I'm thankful to the Trump administration for providing these federal grants to help Texas families return to normalcy."
It was really seen here in this area.
Mercedes resident and UTRGV student Maria Lugo is one of the thousands who was affected by the storms. She says the flooding was especially concerning because her mail carrier couldn't reach her home to deliver her son's medication.
No way anybody could come into this neighborhood. When cars would pass by, the water would just come in like little waves and just push against like our trailer, the siding.
She and her family's home suffered over $10,000 in damages, and while most of it was covered by insurance, they were later dropped from the plan after the residence was declared to be in a flooding zone. She adds many of her neighbors have or are trying to sell their homes because they fear another heavy storm is imminent. However, Lugo does not have plans to leave.
It's a little tougher. It's a little harder right now. My husband's the only one working. I'm going to school, and it's just, to top it off, like this is kind of like our little dream. Like we like it out here.
Lugo is unsure if she will apply for any money since her application for FEMA aid was denied, but says if she is reimbursed for the damages, the money she spent repairing her home will instead go toward paying off student loans. In the newsroom for UTRGV TV, Rocio Villalobos.
This afternoon, new policies are in place at the UTRGV Brownsville campus and Edinburgh campus. Students are no longer allowed to use non-motorized pedestrian devices on certain parts of campus. We spoke to the Environmental Health, Safety and Risk Management Director to learn more about these new rules. Effective as of the spring 2020 semester, the use of devices on campus such as scooters, skateboards, and bicycles are under new policy. Two key aspects of this policy bans the use of these devices on the Bronx Trail on the Edinburgh campus and the Resaca Bridge on the Brownsville campus.
We've had injuries associated with the use of the personal transportation devices by those people that were bicycling, for example, or skateboarding. I'm aware of 2 of them that resulted in 2 kids ending up in the hospital. One case, the institution ended up actually paying for it.
Some students believe this just increases the amount of time it takes to get to class.
I mean, accidents are inevitable. As college students, I believe that we are very responsible. We know when to stop and let someone else pass. I mean, students need to get to their classes as fast as they can.
Costello reassures that the policy is simply in place for the safety of all students and doesn't ban the use of these devices on campus in general.
This is not meant to be a confrontational policy. It's been vetted by the administration, and they've done it to help out the students. So that's their primary reason, because they care about the students.
Reporting for UTRGV TV in Brownsville, I'm Verilu Infante. And here's the Spanish version of this story for this week's UTRGV TV Noticias en Español.
La Universidad UTRGV dispara la alarma analizando el peligro de dispositivos peatonales no motorizados, entre ellos las scooters, patinetas o bicicletas. Para ello se ha comenzado a prohibir este medio de transportación dentro de la universidad. Es un medio de transportación muy económico, accesible y sumamente popular entre los jóvenes dentro del sitio académico. Sin embargo, andar sin equipo de protección puede resultar peligroso. Laura de Jesús, manejadora de UTRGV en programa de seguridad y salud, nos explica la principal causa de este nuevo cambio.
Hemos tenido un número de accidentes de vehículos en nuestras cruces peatonales a personas que utilizan dispositivos de transporte personal de la manera imprudente.
Hablamos con los jóvenes universitarios para ver por qué para ellos es indispensable que se cuente con este medio de transporte, y esto fue lo que nos dijeron.
Es una buena cosa para que lleguen así tempranos a sus clases, y creo que si no las tuvieran, estuvieran llegando bien tarde, y pues eso, nadie quiere eso, así que...
La universidad ofrece a los estudiantes transportación por medio de Bolt. Este fue diseñado para dar servicio dentro del campus de Edinburgh y Brownsville. Cabe mencionar que no se pueden usar estos medios de transportación en pasillos cubiertos y puentes peatonales. Si desea más información, puede comunicarse al Departamento de Policía de la Universidad. Reportando para UTRGV Noticias en Español, yo soy Kenia Correa.
And now let's send it off to Victoria Cantu for this week's sports highlights.
Hey there, UTRGV sports fans. The UTRGV men's basketball team fell short this weekend against the New Mexico State Aggies with a score of 67-62. Let's take a look at this week's sports highlights. Lead player Jordan Jackson started the game with a great start, leading the Vaqueros with a smashing dunk, getting the 2,000 fans on their feet within the first seconds of the game. Jackson then hitting a jumper and a layup, taking an 8-2 lead. Now Aggies still getting ahead, advancing their score 15-12, and Vaqueros still heating up the game. Now we have 3-pointers from Jackson and Chris Freeman, getting Vaqueros up 34-29. It's the second half, and Aggies still leading by 12 at 62-50 when Chris Freeman hits that 3-pointer, a 12-3 run. And now Jackson making the last shot for Vaqueros, ending the game 67-62. Moving on to women's tennis, the tennis team closed out this weekend with a 1-6 loss against Stephen F. Austin University on Saturday. The Vaqueros got their first double victory of the season as junior Alicia Thao and freshman Christina Mandakova defeated the Lady Jacks 6-2 with 3 doubles. Stephen F. Austin led with 1-0 after keeping up their wins on the courts. In singles, sophomore Katerina Cesaroga picked up her first victory this season, coming home with a 7-5, 7-6 victory. We also have sophomore Anna Platisa placing 3 sets at the number 4 spot, opening with a 7-5 victory in the first before falling 4-6 and battling within a tiebreaker as she fell 7-10. Now let's get ready for some baseball. The UTRGV baseball team is getting a fresh start from their first WAC championship. It's been more than 8 months since their last game and have less than 3 weeks to prepare until the season opener. The team started their first day of practice this past Friday and are working hard to get a win against Kansas State. The UTRGV baseball team opens the season against the Kansas State Wildcats at the UTRGV Baseball Stadium on February 14th. That was your UTRGV sports highlight of the week. I'm sports reporter Victoria Cantu.
Thanks, Victoria. Now here's this week's police reports. On January 17th, an officer responded to the University Financial Services building in Edinburgh after authorities say 13 fraudulent checks were attempted to be cashed off campus. This case is still under investigation. That same day, a Brownsville man was arrested after he refused to stop for a traffic violation. It happened on East Tyler Street and San Eugenio Street in Brownsville. Officers later located the man at home, where he resisted the arrest. Authorities say the man displayed symptoms of intoxication. He was jailed for evading arrest and resisting arrest. An overflowing toilet and a clogged drain caused some inconveniences at the Liberal Arts South building in Edinburgh last Monday. A staff member made the report after spotting standing water in the hallways and nearby classrooms of the west side of the building on the 3rd floor. UTRGV facilities stated the water was leaking from the women's restroom. they were able to shut down the water and clean the area. That same day, officers arrested a man who was sleeping on a concrete bench at a university bus stop in Edinburgh for public intoxication. Officers say the man was not a student and was intoxicated to the degree that he was a danger to himself or others. That's all we have for you today, but remember, if you have a story you would like for us to know about or know someone who is making an impact on campus or in the community, you can contact us through our social media or email us at tv@utrgv.edu. We have community and UTRGV news every week. Until next time.